Hi, I'm Tiffany. I came from... A moment, please. Sophia, what now? I spilled my smoothie. Now I don't have any breakfast. Code red! I repeat, code red. Oh, before we continue, smash that like and subscribe button, because this story might just make your brain explode. Meet my sister, age 5. Occupation, full-time drama queen. I'm so sorry. My hand slipped in. Relax, I got you. When I was 10, my mom passed away after Sophia's birth. From that day on, everything changed. Dad was so heartbroken because he loved Mom so much and became distant. It was as if he had just disconnected from the world. I couldn't let our family fall apart, so I became the stand-in mom. My days were packed with a crazy schedule. The house manager, the diaper boss, the chef. Cleaning and cooking? No biggie. I learned from the best when Mom was around. But throw Sophia into the mix? Total nightmare. Anyway, for Mom and my baby sister, I kept going, all while waiting for Dad to stop grieving and start parenting. But instead of coming around, Dad just got worse. I wasn't just raising Sophia. I was raising my lazy dad, too. Wake up, Dad! You're late! Again! I had to wake him up for work, pick his outfits, remind him to brush his teeth. Like, come on! I was a kid, not his personal assistant. But no matter how exhausted I was, there were moments with Sophia that made it all worth it. I have a surprise for you! For being the best sister in the whole wide galaxy. Ooh, better not be another crayon drawing of a potato that's me. Nope, even better. Ta-da! My first tooth! What? Ew! My teacher said we could give it as a tomato to the person we love the most. You mean a memento, weirdo? Yeah, that. And I choose you, big sis. It was kind of ew, but also, aw, I felt so lucky to have such an adorable little sister. But being a one-girl army was not easy. Sometimes I snapped. What happened? Oh gee, I don't know, Dad. Maybe because I'm trying to cook, clean the disgusting fridge, and cram for my science quiz all at once, while you're in there glued to your video games like it's your full-time job. Hey, the Naruto game is a masterpiece. You're missing the point. I need help. Either step up or hire someone. You can't afford it. Sweetie, you're doing such an amazing job. But I can't just trust a stranger around Sophia. What if they hurt her when we're not looking? That always got me. I have watched enough horror movies to know he wasn't wrong. So I sucked it up. For Sophia. Because I couldn't bear anyone messing with my baby sis. But no matter how much I sucked it up, it was draining me. At school, I couldn't focus. Could barely stay awake. Tiffany, wake up. This part's gonna be on the test. Oh, yeah. Totally listening. I would have been at the bottom of the class if not for Akeem. We have known each other since junior high. He was always looking out for me. He was my best friend, and sometimes I wished he could be more. Even though he didn't live next door or anything, Akeem came round a lot, especially when I needed help. Like one time I got really sick. Dad didn't know because he had left early for work, and I was all alone with Sophia, so I called him. Tiffany, you're burning up. And now you're all red. She's red because she's blushing, silly. Sophia! You should be in the hospital. Did you call your dad? He'd take forever to get here. I just need someone to watch Sophia. I can watch myself. You're always taking care of me. I can care for you, too. Then let's take care of her together. Yay! And just like that, I got a full day of love and pampering from my baby sis. And my bestie/secret crush. By nightfall, I was feeling much better, but probably not well enough to take what came next. Thanks so much for coming today, and every other day. You've been such an amazing friend to me. What are friends for, right? Though, if I'm being honest, I've never really wanted to just be your friend. My breath hitched. Did he just... A little birdie told me you wouldn't mind if we were more than friends, too. Sophia? She said you get all goofy when I text. And, you kind of sleep-talked my name one day, but you made her promise not to tell me. I didn't know if I was to feel embarrassed or happy. Oh my god, I'm never trusting that kid again. So, you like me too? From the very first day I set my eyes on you. You're beautiful, Tiffany. But more than that, you're kind. Amazing. It was as if my heart wanted to jump out of my chest. Like this was just a sweet dream that would disappear the moment I opened my eyes. What do you say? A real date tomorrow? Just you and me. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere you can just be Tiffany. I hesitated. Just for a beat. Sophia. I can't leave Sophia. Tomorrow is Sunday. Your dad should be home. My dad can't take good care of her. What if she chokes on her toothbrush or tries to boil water and scalds her or...
One night, Tiff. Just one. You've given so much of yourself to everyone else. Isn't it time you gave a little to yourself too?
He was right. I deserved a break. Just some time for myself, doing what I love with who I love. Okay, let's make it a date, just for us. I was so excited to go on a date with Akeem. The moment Dad came back, I told him about my date with Akeem, begging him to take care of Sophia for just one evening.
I'm happy for you, sweetie. Akeem's a great guy. As for Sophia, yeah, I think I can handle her for a few hours.
Really? Thanks, Dad! With that, I was all set to go. The next evening, I doled myself for the first time since I could remember.
What if she needs to go potty?
She can take care of her business.
What if she's hungry?
There's food in the fridge.
What if...
Dad, she's 6, not a baby. You just need to watch her so she doesn't, hurt herself or destroy something. That's right. Sophia's a big girl now. I can even take care of Daddy, too. I should have known from how jumpy Dad was that leaving Sophia with him would be a disaster. What I didn't know was that disaster was going to follow me to my date. Akeem and I had just been in the restaurant for 1 hour, having the time of our lives when 2 familiar figures took the table next to us. They raised newspapers to their faces like they were undercover agents. But I know those little fingers anywhere.
Isn't that...
Yeah, it's them. Could they really not give me one moment of peace? Not even for my first date? What's the meaning of all this? It was his idea.
Just pretend we aren't here, sweetie.
Pretend? Why are you even here?
Sophia said she was bored.
I just wanted him to play with me.
I didn't know how to entertain her, so I brought her here.
I was so angry and embarrassed, it felt like my face was on fire.
It's okay, Tiffany. We can just...
No, it's not okay. Everything is messed up. With tears spilling from my eyes, I dashed out of the restaurant. I went back home to soak my pillow with tears. I felt like a prisoner in a tiny cell where I couldn't turn. Akeem called me so many times, but I couldn't answer. What do I even say? How do I explain this mess I'm living in? How long will I let my life be controlled by everyone but me? Should I just run away? Just when I was considering the possibility of running from home, Sophia came to my room. Are you mad at me? I'm sorry I ruined your date. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Dad. He couldn't just give me a few hours. A single night to myself. Is that too much to ask? Then why don't you tell him? My teacher says if you're mad at someone, scream at their face and let them know you're hurting. Sophia was right. I had been making Dad's life easy while mine crumbles. It's time to put my foot down. With all the courage I had, I decided it was time to confront Dad. I've had enough, Dad. I'm sick of being the only one who takes care of things around here. It's your job as a father to take care of your kids, not mine. I don't even have friends because I'm too busy doing what you should be doing.
What's the big deal, Tiffany? You've been doing this for years. You should be used to it by now.
I'm tired. I want a life. I want to be a normal teenager. I can't even study without thinking about what to cook for dinner. I do everything for you, everything, and you couldn't even give me this one night with Akeem.
Maybe if you hadn't gone on that date, you would have time to study. Stop being selfish, Tiffany. These little chores you keep whining about aren't a big deal.
I couldn't believe my ears. I'm the selfish one? You think the things I do, the things I sacrifice, are just little chores? Clarity hit me then. My dad's forgotten what responsibility feels like. He thinks it's okay to pass everything on to me, to treat me like I'm just here to clean up his mess. And now he's entitled to everything I do without any gratitude. Well, no more. That stupid good kid is over from today. If he won't step up as a parent, I sure won't be his replacement. So I stopped waking him up for work, and I stopped cooking his meals too.
Tiffany, I'm late. Why didn't you wake me up for work?
There's something called an alarm clock, and it sure doesn't look like me.
Fine. Did you at least make me breakfast? Something I can take to work.
Sure. Milk and cereal. Oh, and by the way, your shirt's got something on the back. He tried to look at the back of his shirt in horror. It was covered in stains.
You didn't wash it?
We have a laundry room for that. Dad probably thought I was going to go back to my old self in a day or two. But when I refused to lift a finger, even after 2 weeks, it began to sink in.
The house hasn't been cleaned in days. Tiffany!
I have a test coming up, Dad. Sorry, I don't have time. Eventually, Dad gave in and started doing the chores, but he wasn't good at any of them. He almost burned himself cooking. His work clothes stayed wrinkled no matter how hard he ironed, and he nearly fell asleep while helping Sophia with her homework. I watched him struggle every day, dragging himself between work and chores. A part of me wanted to help, but no. Not until he owned up to what he'd done. Not until he said he was sorry. And then something unexpected happened. One day, the moment Akeem and I got home after school, the kitchen was on fire and Dad was busy snoring on the couch. Dad! Dad! The house is on fire!
Oh no! I forgot I was making dinner!
Where's Sophia?
She's asleep upstairs. I'm calling the firefighters! Dad and I rushed to the base of the stairs to go and grab Sophia, but the fire had spread to the base of the stairs.
No! We won't make it back in time!
Tiffany, stay back. I'll go. Get outside. We'll jump from the balcony.
There's too much fire! I'll come with you!
Tiffany, please. It's too dangerous.
Before the fire could spread any further, Dad dashed through the flames and ran upstairs to get Sophia. Meanwhile, Akeem grabbed me, pulling me out from the house as I cried and struggled to break free. Some neighbors were already there with racing hearts. I prayed for Dad and Sophia to make it out. My prayers were answered. Through the thick curtain of smoke, I saw them, but they still had to jump.
Akeem, catch!
Akeem caught Sophia like he was some superhero, just as Dad got ready to jump. The house exploded. No! When we all regained our bearings, I found Dad near a pile of shrubs. Dad, please wake up!
I'm awake, sweetie. I'm so sorry. Tiffany, just a few weeks of doing what you've done for years, and I nearly destroyed everything. How did you do it?
I'm so sorry. Don't worry, I can.
No, sweetie. I'm not asking you to take over again. I'm asking for your forgiveness. I should have never dumped all that responsibility on you. You're a kid. You had school, a life. I failed you, but I promise I'll be a better dad, starting now.
It took burning down the house for Dad to finally admit he was wrong. At that moment, all the misunderstandings seemed to fade away. My love for my family didn't change. I still helped out where I could, but now it was balanced. Sophia seemed happy too about how Dad had changed.
Ugh! Whoa!
It means she loves you. Dad was finally acting like, well, a dad. Still, he didn't magically become super dad overnight. If anything, he just kept burning everything.
Maybe housekeeping's still a bit too much for me.
The three of us just laughed. Life wasn't perfect, but it was filled with love, and that's what mattered. My dad finally decided to hire a housekeeper to help clean up and take care of Sophia. Since then, life started to settle down, and I finally had time to be just a teenager, to do the things I wanted, like dating with Akeem. Yes, helping others is honorable, but never forget, you deserve time for yourself, and you need to learn how to love yourself as well.
Why did this fence have to be so high? Oh no, that didn't sound good. It was time to get out of here. But, I seem to be stuck. Suddenly, a security team was blinding me with a flashlight and telling me not to move. Not that I could anyway. They dragged me down. Then the next thing I knew, I was being pushed into a chair and interrogated by security guards. But all they got out of me was silence. A few minutes later, Mr. and Mrs. Langston showed up. Yeah, they're the wealthy couple who owns this mansion. They're the people that I was looking for. I suppose I did owe them an explanation. I'm sorry for this disturbance, but it's not what you think. I saw your job advert for a housemaid, and I wanted to apply. But the guard said I was too young and refused to let me in. The thing is, my dad has a rare heart condition, and if he doesn't receive treatment soon, then chances are he won't make it. I really don't have any other choice. So, please can I have the job and also 6 months salary advance? Right at that moment, a girl my age fell into the room, peered at the Langstons, then started laughing.
Carla, this is not acceptable. Aren't you ashamed of your appalling results for the Francis Academy entrance exam? You should be studying hard to redeem yourself, not out partying at this hour.
This Carla girl just rolled her eyes at them, then wobbly walked off. I noticed Mr. Langston comforting his wife, who seemed to be in much distress at the girl's inconsiderate behaviors. So this must be their daughter then. They sure seem to take her education seriously. And she applied to my school. That gave me an idea. You know, if you want to improve Carla's academic performance, I can help you. They both gave me skeptical looks, so I showed them my academic records and told them how I was a valedictorian and had successfully scored a scholarship at Francis Academy. On hearing about my achievements, any apprehensions they had soon faded. And so, they'd come up with a plan, a risky one. They would pay for my dad's hospital fees until he fully recuperated if I took on the identity of Carla and flew to South Korea to study at an international high school there. while Carla would take my place and enroll at Francis Academy just as they wished. This deal sounded like the answer to my prayers, but I knew it would be tricky. Pretending to be somebody else in a completely different country was beyond my understanding, so I agreed to do it, but only on 2 more conditions. First, a guardian must be present, who would take care of all my paperwork and stuff. Second, after I completed the deal and returned, the Langstons had to help me get into my dream school, the prestigious GBA University, obviously. They gave it a thought, then shook my hand in agreement. It looked like we had a deal! The next thing I knew, I was in an elite neighborhood in Seoul, Korea. Whoa! Talk about luxury! So this was what it felt like to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Mr. Preston dropped me off at school and repeatedly told me not to draw attention to myself. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, Mr. Preston is the Langstons' lawyer, and according to the contract, he's also my guardian. He seems oh so serious, but I guess he's okay. Whoa, this school looked so modern. The architecture was a work of art all in itself. I wandered around the endless corridors and tried to find my class. Everyone seemed quite friendly, and the class president, Minjun, even gave me a guided tour. All the students' outstanding paintings, photos, and models were displayed all across the campus. Countless classrooms of different subjects, from science to art, just made me gasp in awe. I was admiring the artwork when suddenly Minjun blurted out,
Sorry, I've got to go. Miss Lee is looking for me. It'll only take a few minutes, so wait here for me, okay?
Then he rushed off. So I lingered around the hall. That's when I spotted a group of girls nearby. I recognized the one from my last class. I'm sure her name was Isabella. I was about to walk over to greet them when I realized they had this one girl cornered and were making fun of her hairband. Ugh! Where did you get that horrid thing from? I suppose it must have come from some thrift shop or something. I heard that's where poor people shop. Ugh, this whole thing disgusted me. They outcasted someone just 'cause she didn't come from ridiculously rich households like them. I knew that poor girl's feeling all too well. I gotta help her. But I didn't want to get anyone's back up and draw attention to myself. What could I do? Ah, got it! Hey, the teacher's coming. I'll stall her for you guys. Run! My plan worked a treat, as Isabella and her friends nodded at me, then rushed off. I then went over to the girl asking if she was okay. Get away from me! She flinched me off her and then ran off. Huh? I was only trying to help. As I turned around, I saw Minjun looking at me. A bit impressed, I think. He told me that the students here were divided into 2 groups. 90% are rich, and the remaining 10% are poor kids entering under scholarships. Most of the students are quite friendly to each other. Well, except those I just witnessed. Isabella's part of the rich kid group who think their upbringings make them superior to others. She's often mean to the 10% group as she believes they don't deserve to be here. And as you can guess, that girl they upset, she's called Susie. She's in the 10% group, and she's the smartest student in our year. What nonsense! School is school. We're here to study and should all be treated equally.
Too right, new girl. I knew there was something different about you.
The next day, when class was over, Isabella tapped on my shoulder and thanked me for the warning. Then she asked me to join her group for lunch. I was about to politely refuse when Minjun appeared and asked me to join him. Phew. Thanks to Minjun, I had an excuse to quickly flee the scene. However, I did look back and see that Isabella was giving this offended look. After that, Minjun and I started hanging out more. We soon became close friends, and we both decided that the dynamics around here needed to change. So, we set out to help the 10% club. One lunchtime, Isabella and her clan purposely bumped into this boy, causing him to spill food all over himself. While they laughed and pointed at him, I rushed over there, took the food, and slammed it onto Minjun's face. Minjun immediately understood my intention. Then he also took a handful of noodles and smeared it all over Isabella. Cue the canteen erupting into one big, messy food fight. Another time, the school was preparing for a cultural fair. One boy from the 10% group had this awesome idea to open a food stall serving traditional dishes from different countries. Everyone agreed, apart from, yep, you guessed it, Isabella and her snooty besties.
Such a peasant. Too used to working as a waiter to serve others, huh?
I winked at Minjin. Then we stayed behind and secretly wrote Isabella and her friends' names on the list of participants and submitted it to the teacher. Now, they had no choice but to serve food at the super crowded fair. The funniest part was they finally got a taste of their own medicine when the 10% group made the most of ordering them around and complaining.
Ew, this ratatouille is too bland. Add some more salt.
And this milk tea is too sweet. Start a new batch with less sugar. I have to admit, I was enjoying watching the mean kids squirm. But I guess my enjoyment hadn't gone unnoticed, as afterward, Isabella approached me.
Those peasant kids aren't at the same level as you and I. I suggest you put more care into who you choose to associate with, or you could end up being treated like they are.
Whatever. I just rolled my eyes, walked away from her, then continued to hang out with my friends in the 10% group. Isabella and her minions gave me dirty looks, but due to the Langstons' name and fortune, that's all they could do. Just like that, my high school years passed by. I had some great friends. And guess what? Yep, I was now dating Minjin. I loved being here in South Korea, and I'd even grown fond of Preston, who, despite being a grumpy gut, now felt like family to me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I missed my family back home like crazy. But Dad was getting better now, and we regularly FaceTimed. As amazing as my life was now, deep down I always felt like I was living in a dream. None of this truly belonged to me, and everything would be over as soon as I left this place. And eventually, my last week here arrived. As I was studying for my last ever exam, the SAT, I received a message from an unknown number. I know your secret. Drop out of the test, else I'll expose you. What? Who could it be? I called the number and a distorted voice answered the phone. I begged them to tell me why they were doing this, but they just replied,
You don't need to know. Just do as I said.
Then they hung up. Luckily for me, Preston isn't just an amazing lawyer, he's also a tech genius. Thanks to him, we tracked down the location of the phone. I bet you're just as curious as I am to find out who it was. And now was the moment of truth. Huh? No way! Standing there looking startled was Susie! Why would she do this to me? It made no sense. I mean, I know we weren't friends, but I had nothing against her. Why did she despise me to the point of willing to ruin my life like this? Please let me explain. Ever since you arrived here, I lost my top spot at school, which means I've also lost a full scholarship to college. My family will never be able to afford it themselves, so I decided to investigate you. And that's when I found out that you were not the real Carla Langston, and you got paid by her parents to achieve all these academic records for her. I get why you're upset, but you didn't have to blackmail me. You don't strike me as someone who would do such a thing, so it's kind of disappointing that you did. I'm not. I'm a dead end, Irene. You have to understand. This is my entire future I'm losing here. And what for? So some rich, spoiled girl can get into college without doing any of the work? It seemed like I had a lot of thinking to do. In the end, I realized all I felt towards Susie was pity. This was all my fault, and it wasn't fair for someone as capable as Susie to have her entire future ruined because of me. So I had to be the bigger person here. I decided to ask the Langstons to give Susie the spot at GBA University, which was previously reserved for me as part of the deal. I mean, no worries. With this big brain, I could easily get in there on my own, right? And so, as soon as I was done with the test, I quietly left South Korea behind, without saying goodbye to anyone, including Minjin. Susie and I boarded the same flight back to the state. She couldn't help but thank me all the way there. And, well, let's just say, by the time the plane landed, we became good friends. But things didn't all go as swimmingly as I intended. It turned out Carla was even more negligent than first thought. All she managed to get was a high school diploma with shockingly bad grades. These were now my bad grades. My dream of attending a prestigious university was over. I'd just have to make do with a community college instead. A year flew by, and there wasn't a single day that I didn't think about South Korea or Minjin. I couldn't talk to him anymore. I promised the Langstons I'd cut all ties with my life there. I mean, Susie was the exception. One day while going out with Susie, she was showing me something interesting on Facebook, when we happened to scroll past a post of Minjin's, which read, "Finally I found you, the love of my life." My heart sank. Wow, it looked like he'd found someone else, while my heart still pined for him. But life still goes on, and a week after that, I was waiting for Susie outside of her college, daydreaming how this could have been my life. I saw a familiar face heading towards me. Was that Minjin? But wait! He was with a girl. Carla! Hang on, his Facebook post was about her? The love of his life was Carla? I couldn't do this right now, so I willed back tears as I took a deep breath and turned to walk away. But suddenly, I felt a hand pull me back. It was Minjin.
It's really you! I finally found you! I've been looking ever since graduation, and then my information led me here and to...
Me! Carla appeared next to him and smirked at me. Hey, who am I to stop the course of true love? So I told him your real name and helped him search for you. I mean, you're smart, so I figured you'd attend this university too. No, you messed up my grades, remember? Anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. I turned and looked at Minjin. I'm so sorry, Minjin. I wanted to tell you everything, but I couldn't. He took my hand in his and gave me this adoring smile.
I found you. And trust me, right now...
Wow, this cake tastes like heaven. I reached out to grab another piece when I heard a growl behind me. I told you to be graceful, didn't I? Then, Mom pulled me over to greet this smartly dressed couple. Ugh, again. They looked me up and down, then said, I heard that you're a gifted pianist. We would love to hear you play. Huh? Piano? I'd never played it before in my life. Before I could say a word, Mom chimed in. Unfortunately, Phoebe's just sprained her wrist. Maybe next time. I looked at her confused. Why would she lie like that? Jeez. Mom, why did you say that I could play the piano? Ah, yes. I may have bragged to them that all of my adopted children are excellent. What can I say? All moms boasted about their kids, right? And yep, I'd grown up in an orphanage before Mom welcomed me into her family. This place is pretty grand, huh? I found it overwhelming at first, and ended up getting lost trying to find my room. Luckily, there are plenty of my adoptive sisters around to show me where to go. I do have 10 of them. Yep, you heard me right. 10. It was as if I had just moved from one orphanage to another, only no more orphaned. And we're all similar ages, which is unusual, as foster parents often prefer younger kids. They said us teenagers are rather stubborn. Not to mention how my adoptive dad is never around. Seriously, I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. So it's just us girls here. I got on best with Collins. She's a couple of years older than me, and we share the same bedroom. As much as I liked living with Mom and my sisters, Mom did make us all do strange things, such as wear cheesy clothes and walk in a straight line. Worse still, she forced me to learn the piano. Ugh, I was not at all musical. I just made a right din. She also taught me how to eat properly, but it did kind of feel like a dog training session. I was only allowed to eat when she showed a signal, and by the time I could catch up with how to use the silverwares, the meal was already finished. Ugh. But I suppose that's how every mom teaches her daughter, right? And apparently, Mom didn't have the patience to coach me anymore. So she handed me over to Collins, her star daughter. We spent an hour every day talking together, or rather, she gave me pointers on how to talk correctly. Collins said I needed to control my volume because I had a tendency to shout my words and it wasn't very ladylike. I had to whisper at the same volume as her and also choose my words carefully to show intelligence and grace. Ugh, maybe it'd be easier if I just didn't say anything at all from now on. Aside from Collins, I didn't have a chance to get to know my other sisters as Mom made each of us pursue a different aptitude. Then we had to perform for her on our monthly assessment. Mom's overall very gentle and caring, but too strict when it comes to training. So we all have to spend a lot of time and effort in practice. One day I was trying to make sense of the music sheet when I heard Lexi complain, "Ugh, why does Mom force me on this Mission Impossible? So boring." What? At least ice skating is 1,000 times more fun than the piano. If only. An idea popped into my head. That night, I went to my mom and timidly said, "Mom, I want to switch from piano lessons to ice skating. I can exchange with Lexi. What? No. But why? Lexi doesn't even like ice skating. Well, it's because I can see potential in each one of you, so it's impossible to switch." Frustrated, I went back to my room and began whining to Collins, but she thought that it wasn't a big deal. Mom knows what's best for us. Well, that I'm not too sure about, yet we didn't even get to go to school. As Mom said, her homeschooling was enough. While I only found her method rather strange, I've dreamed of this perfect life with an amazing mom, but Mom was never very affectionate. It didn't matter how much we studied or tried to perfect our chosen hobby. She never cuddled or praised us, not even Collins, who's the smartest girl here. I was desperate to impress Mom, so one time I spent ages making this Portuguese appetizer for her, but all she did was take one bite and say it was okay. I asked her if she didn't like me, but she just replied in a growl tone that she was helping us to have a high position in society and a bright life. But I don't need those things. I just wanted her to like me. This place is so stuffy, and the only time that I can actually breathe is when I'm on my Friday morning bread buying errand. Ugh. Then suddenly someone patted me on my shoulder, which startled me so much I dropped my stuff. "Hey, it's really you. But is something wrong with you? Why the strange walk?" The only thing I'm good at is buying bread, but now you've ruined it. See? Jet stooped down to pick it up for me. He was still as rude as ever, but I still found myself jealous of this free spirit off him. We used to be a perfect match at our orphanage, and quite embarrassing to admit, but I was very naughty back then, and often shoplifted with him. "You could go steal some more. Remember our tricks?" I have to tell you 3 things. Firstly, I've been adopted. Secondly, my adoptive family is wealthy. And finally, I'm being educated to be a noble lady, so no more stealing. That's ridiculous. I also have 3 things for you. I've been adopted too. My parents love me so much. Oh, and they're cops. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. So we were both caught, weren't we? Jet and I sat down on a nearby bench to catch up, and when I poured my heart out about my new family, he interrupted me. "Sounds strange to me. Why would they only adopt teenage girls? And what are those training lessons and monthly evaluations for?" Then, Jet insisted that he would investigate my adoptive family. That's silly. But anyway, it's fun to reunite with a friend, and we agreed to hang out every Friday after that. And here comes my first assessment. Of course, I couldn't even play a simple melody, so I had to study for 3 more hours every day. My sisters suffered even more. Kinsley was forced to abstain from food because she weighed 2 kilograms more than the standard. In contrast, Willow had to eat continuously at night in order to gain 5 kilograms. If it's to this extent, then it must have not been simply for the sake of the casual boasting of a mom, right? On the next Bread Friday, I told Jet about last week's assessment. He firmly stated that there was a problem with my family. I don't think so, Jet. Mom just wants the best for us. Listen, Phoebe, I think she trained you guys on purpose. Each of you has to be good at a certain subject, just like the shopping orders. Orders? Don't go too far. You know Kobe beef? Cows are made to listen to music, given beer to drink, and massaged, but in the end, you know what the outcome is. Oh no. Is that what this is? Mom always said that she would give us the best life as long as we worked hard. Were we being tested and stamped like those cows? One day, I came home to Collins excitedly packing her suitcase. Mom said she's taking me to a new school tomorrow. So Collins was leaving? But where? I'll miss you, sis. Text me when you get there? But days passed without a word from her. I asked Mom, and she said that Collins' hard work paid off, and she'd been accepted into a prestigious school, but they had a strict no phones rule. Huh, that sounded sus. So I told Jet, and he insisted I report the case. Another Friday, Jet and I met at a church near the bakery. Why did he choose this boring place? I was looking around when I saw a group of schoolgirls coming out of the church. They all wore the same dull uniform, had their hair neatly tied back in a bun, and all obediently lined up. Then there I saw her. Collins? I was about to rush over to greet her, but the glare of the woman accompanying her scared me off. This was not right. I'd got to ask Collins what was going on. So I grabbed Jet's arm and went after the group. But they got into a black car and sped away. Maybe they chose this church as a place for their transactions. Smart, huh? They put everyone in school uniforms so no one would suspect them. But seeing those faces, I'm sure they're about to be sent to the black market soon. Black market? The thought alone made me shudder. I had to save Collins. I couldn't let Mom get away with this. That night, I tiptoed downstairs to eavesdrop. Okay, I'll deliver her this weekend. Correct. She's 5'7". She can ice skate, cooking and painting. Of course, I have her trained as required. You won't be disappointed. So the deal goes as planned, okay? See you on Sunday. That's it. The next delivery was Lexi. I checked her room and saw her packing her stuff, a beam of innocent happiness on her face. I quickly texted Jet, and he immediately replied, "Just wait at home calmly. Don't act without thinking. I'll figure something out." That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I was so terrified something terrible would happen to Lexi. So early the next morning, as soon as I saw Mom and Lexi getting in the car to leave, I snuck into the trunk, lay there without making any sound, and sent Jet the location. The car took a long time to stop. Had we finally arrived at the transaction location? When it seemed safe, I carefully climbed out and saw Mom talking to a fastidious-looking middle-aged woman. What did Mom say that made Lexi so panicked that she kept clutching Mom's hand? The woman handed Mom a rather thick envelope, then grabbed Lexi's hand and dragged her away. God, where was Jet? I couldn't just sit still like this and watch my sister being taken away. Let Lexi go! Now! Phoebe, what are you doing? Stop it. You're going to sell us, aren't you? I already know the truth. What on earth are you talking about, Phoebe? Furious, Mom pulled me away. Stop. Suddenly, 2 cops rushed in, ordering everyone to put their hands up. Behind them was Jet, still panting. Turns out they were Jet's adoptive parents. Help me! Mom's trying to sell me and my sister. Seeing that, the other woman quickly explained, No, there must be a misunderstanding here. I'm just helping Gianna's daughter to enroll at my school. Bewildered, my eyes darted from Mom to the other woman and then to Jet. In the principal's office, I told everyone why I thought my mom was a human trafficker. They all gasped in surprise. I made you practice that hard just because I want you to get in here, the most prestigious all-girls school, so that you can have a better life. I don't want to go to this school anymore, Mom. She told me all about the harsh rules. This place is terrifying. You can't force your kids to do that. You adopted them, so you have to make them feel safe and loved. Miss Gianna, this is a prestigious school, and it doesn't need your scandal. You led me to believe that your daughters were naturally gifted, which now transpires is all lies. I won't accept any child from your family from now on. No, they're my children. They deserve the best. Then she begged the principal to withdraw her decision, but she firmly shook her head. Suddenly, Mom shouted, Why? I just want them not to suffer like me. So what's wrong with that? Then Mom burst into tears. It turns out that in the past, Mom was in love with a politician. But he decided it would further his career if he chose to marry a graduate from this prestigious school instead. Mom loved him so much, she continued to be his mistress. But despite being fully provided for by him, Mom always felt that she was inferior to his official wife, especially when he proudly boasted about his smart wife and talented daughters. Then, when she wanted to start her own family, he wouldn't allow it. In the end, she decided to adopt girls and train them to become excellent so that they could enter this school regardless of their background. So that's the reason why she did this to us. I have to admit, I did feel a bit sorry for her. All of this was probably just to ease the pain of her past. But Mom, we don't want to go to this snooty school. We just want you to love us and protect us. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was only trying to help. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. And she hugged me. So, in the end, my sisters and I finally have a truly happy family. Mom doesn't make us do any dumb tasks anymore. Instead, she lets us pursue our own dreams and passions. Now we all go to a public school and live out our normal teen lives. It's wonderful finally having an amazing mom, incredible sisters, and my pretty awesome best friend, Jet, all by my side.